o'clock. You ready to rock? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm sure it's good night someplace because the Amazing Grace Sports Network is on. It is 12. And I'm so sorry. I apologize for this lateness. 12 o'clock show. I was getting my makeup on. And as you can see, it takes a lot to make me look whatever I look like. No, there was no makeup involved here. It is. I'm sure you guys want to know who is my makeup artist, because they need to be fired or something. Surely they can make me look better than this. Yeah. Well. Here we are with so many things happening. So many things happening in the sports world. The Celtics played last night. They kicked butt. They took on the contender New York Knicks, and they wore them out. I'm going to tell you, they wore them out. I'm going to tell you, the best thing that could have happened to the Boston Celtics was the way they were treated in the Olympics. I mean, Jaylen Brown being left off, the MVP of the playoffs, being left off the team, and, Jason Tatum being benched. That's right, they benched him. They said, hey, buddy, you're right in the bench for this team. We have players like Halliburton and old man LeBron James, decrepit old LeBron James. We have Kevin Durant, Methuselah. LeBron must be Lazarus. No, LeBron would be Methuselah, and whatever. They're old, and they had to play Anthony Davis and the rest of not clutch sports. This is just ridiculous. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the Boston Celtics ruled last night. They ruled, and they did it without Kristaps Porzingis. That's right. They rolled the dice without Kristaps, and they won. How did they do it? Our boy Jason Tatum was going off. Our guy Jaylen Brown was going off. Derek White was going off. Drew Holiday was going. As a matter of fact, the whole freaking team was going off. If Caitlin Clark had been on there for the Celtics, she would have been going off on the Knicks. They were up by 30 at one time in the third quarter. They were up in the 20s. They were up by 20 in the first quarter. They increased it more in the second quarter. And by the third quarter, they were up by 30 points. And then you knew it was at the point of no return. It didn't really matter that they had Karl Anthony Towns or Jalen Brunson on the other side or Mikal Bridges or whoever else they put out there. It didn't matter. New York was getting its butt handed to themselves. And of course, the NBA world, they still don't recognize what they have in the Celtics. And that's well and good enough. Because in this world, we are proud of Joe Mazzulla and the rest of the Celtics for being low-key, out the way, not being with not clutch sports, okay? And the rest of that P. Diddy banality that accompanies LeBron James. Oh, my light just went out, so you're just going to have to deal with me the way I look now. Okay, let's move on. We have, let's do prayer. And then we have birthdays, and we have some very important birthdays to do. So, God, Lord Jesus Christ, Lord Holy Spirit, we are your people. We are your sheep. We hear your voice. We know that this is a temporary world, one that's here 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, 90 years at the most, and that there's eternity to be lived after that. I want to thank you for bringing me into this world. And I think that should go for all of us, that we're here right now. That you gave us what you gave us. The ability to see, hear, and talk, to think. That you gave us breath. That we always have a chance to rise up and to become better people, better human beings, better members of the human race. And that you always have a challenge in front of us. And so that even when it looks like one might be at the bottom, he actually has a better situation to rise to the top. than somebody who was born closer to the top because they have hunger, they have drive, they have the will to want to do something. So don't become a victim because you think of yourself as being born not at the top. Use that as impetus to rise to the top. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. I do have birthdays on here. Hold on. I'm just going to move out of here just for a second to see if I can find my birthday mode. Um, uh, come on. You know what? We got it. Let's hit it.
Happy birthday, all. Happy birthday, all.
Happy birthday to you.
You.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you. Happy birthday,
to
all you people.
you. All you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to you. Oh, gosh.
you.
Back in the day when it was the trio and the duo, we used to sing happy birthday to one another. Hopefully, one day that will happen again soon in the future. Okay? But starting off with birthdays. You guys are going to love this one because I learned a lot. I learned a lot researching these birthdays. On October 23rd, Johann Wilhelm Heisman was born. Yes, Johann Wilhelm Heisman. We know him as John Heisman. John Heisman, the guy whom the trophy is named after, was born in Cleveland, Ohio. He was the son of Bavarian German immigrants, Johann Michael Heisman and Sarah Leah Heisman. He played varsity football for the Titusville High School from 1884 to 1886, and his father never saw him play. Why? His father refused to go to the games. He thought that football was bestial, and he does have a point. But John Heisman went on to play football as a lineman at Brown University, the University of Pennsylvania, and at Penn State University. Now, this was obviously before the NCAA was organized to ruin young college athletes' life and say that they couldn't transfer from here to there or there to there and things of that sort. There's a picture of John. Let's get a younger picture. There's a young. See that? Remember that pose there? The Heisman pose. We're going to see in the trophy here. Looks a little bit better there, but Heisman, there he is, John Heisman when he was young. Um, and so Heisman, after he went to Brown University, University of Pennsylvania, and Penn State University, went on to serve as a head football coach at Oberlin College and Buchel College, now known as the University of Akron. He went on to Auburn University, Clemson University, Georgia Tech, the University of Pennsylvania, Washington and Jefferson College, and Rice University. He compiled a career college football record of 186 wins, 70 losses, and 18 ties. Pretty darn good. In 1927, Heisman retired to write the book Principles of Football and head up the Downtown Athletic Club in Manhattan, in New York. And in December of 1936, just 2 months after his death, the Downtown Athletic Club renamed their trophy to the Heisman Memorial Trophy, and it is given to the player voted as the season's most outstanding football player. Now, tell me, did you know that? Did you even know that there was a John Heisman? I mean, all of these years, I talked about the Heisman Trophy. We all talked about the Heisman Trophy, Trophy winners, Archie Griffin, all the way down to Bo Jackson, and I believe O.J. Simpson. And I can't tell you who the last one was, but we talk about the Heisman Trophy and the Heisman Trophy winners. And I did not know that it was named after a man who was a coach named John Heisman. Wow. Happy posthumous birthday to Mr. John Heisman, who was born on October 22nd and 18 something. That being said, let's move on. Next, we have, you know who I want to do? Happy posthumous birthday. Yeah, posthumous happy posthumous birthday to former Red Sox All-Star James Emery Fox, aka Jimmy Fox, aka Double X, aka the Beast. Yes, they actually called him that. Now, Jimmy Fox, there he is, looking young and handsome and strong when the picture was taken. Jimmy Fox was born on October 22nd, 1907, in Sutlersville, Maryland, to tenant farmers, Dell and Mattie Fox. Now, Fox did well in school, but he excelled in sports, particularly soccer, track, and baseball. He set the state record in both the 220 and 80-yard dash. They no longer have the 80-yard dash, but the 220 is still around. They call it the, what is it, 200 meters now. Things have changed. Fox was regarded as the most promising athletic prospect in the state of Maryland at the time, and a scholarship to the University of Maryland was arranged, should he wish to attend. Notice that little caveat, should he wish to attend. Now, that was in 1923, but in April of 1924, Fox met with Frank Home Run Baker, a former member of the Philadelphia Athletics, and he was then the manager of the minor league Easton Farmers. Well, you can guess what happened. Baker offered Fox a big-time contract to play for the Farmers. Big time. Big time. This is 1920s. For $100. Yes, $100 a week. It probably was a month. I probably have this wrong. It was probably $100 a month, and Fox took it. Now, remember, the humble beginnings that he's coming from. His parents were tenant farmers, right? So, $100, whether it was a week, a month, or a week. If it was a week, I bet it sounded like it was $1 million. He took it, and college became a memory. Now, Jimmy Fox made it to the made it to the majors with the Philadelphia Athletics, because he went to that farm system of which Frank Holman Baker was a former member of. And he wilded out. He wilded out, okay? But Philadelphia, ran by Connie Mack, was always broke. You know, Philadelphia's always been one of those towns that had a hard time supporting their teams. No, maybe that was then, but not anymore. Now, Philadelphia sells out. Why? I'm not going to get into it, but they do. They sell out. Let's just be honest. They sell out. Philadelphia sells out. But by 1934, Connie Mack could no longer afford James Emery Fox, and he traded him to the Boston Red Sox, where he finished out his career. Now, this is, the Red Sox got lucky, obviously, and they had to make up for letting Babe Ruth go in 1919. Yeah, trading him to the Yankees. So I guess they're trying to play catch up. And this was the next best deal they could get. They took it, and Jimmy Fox again wowed out. He did very well for the Red Sox. Now, Fox won the Triple Crown in 1933. Let me just preface this. Jimmy Fox was considered one of the greatest hitters in baseball history. He still is. And this was, before performance enhancement drugs and all of those type of things. So we have to say that he was doing this on the natural. And when training methods were not quite as evolved as they are now. Well, not year-round training methods, not the nutrition. Whew, man, I don't even want to get into it. But anyway, Fox won the Triple Crown in 1933. His 58 home runs that he hit in 1932 were the third most all-time in a season, only behind Babe Ruth, of course. 438 total bases collected that same season are still the fifth most all time. And he is one of only seven batters to accumulate over 400 total bases in a season more than once. Fox won two American League batting titles. He led all of baseball in home runs four times. He batted over 300 in 11 full seasons. This guy was a beast. But I'm sure to his family, he was dad and hubby. So happy posthumous birthday to Mr. James Emery Fox. Um, I know they didn't pay you a whole lot, and that's a shame because you put up some stats, you deserved it, and well, when they couldn't afford you anymore, they traded you just to another team, just like that. And that was the story of baseball until Kurt Flood changed all of that. That would become later on. Next. We have on the birthday, and that's today. Another birthday. Let me just make sure of it. The birthday that we are talking about, because we don't want to make mistakes. Right. All right. The next birthday, and I'm sure everybody will recognize this guy, even though most of you are too young to remember him. And I barely remember him, um, as I am a product of the 60s, 1960s. I never saw this guy play in the 60s. I'm going to be honest. Okay. But the guy that I am talking about is one Pele. Now, Pele is not really his whole name, but Edison Orantes do Nascimento was born on October 23rd in Tres Corrales, Brazil. He's better known by his nickname, Pele. Pele became a prolific goal scorer, a precise passer, and is widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport of soccer. His 1,279 goals in just 1,363 games is recognized as a Guinness World Record. Now, Pele was named after American inventor Thomas Edison, who revolutionized the world with his inventions. One could say that Pele revolutionized the world of soccer, from what I understand, and uh, some films of him. Truly, uh, one of the best that ever happened. Now, Pele uh, didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth. No, he grew up in unenviable conditions as a young man. But it wasn't long before he was showing his prowess. And he signed a professional soccer contract. He signed it with a professional team, at age 16. They said it's 15, but I'm going to say it's 16 because it's in the year 1956. But he probably signed it before October, so that made him 15. So he's, in essence, he was brought to a team when he was only 15 years old, and they say, "Listen, dude, we got to have you." They signed him up. So, 16 years old, he signs a contract. 15, 16 years old. At age 17, or age 16, 17, 1957, he was a starter. He's a starter on the team, on a professional soccer team with people 20 and 30 years old. At age 18, he led that team to the championship of the league. That's 1958. So we're going to call it age 18, 1958. From 1958 to 1975, Pele dominated the soccer world like no other, winning multiple championships in Brazil, South America, and in the International World Cup. In 1958, at 18, he scored two goals as Brazil defeated Sweden 5-2 to win the World Cup. Earlier, he had become the youngest player to score a goal in the history of the World Cup at 17. Okay, beat that. Um, In 1962, Brazil wins again. They won the World Cup again. In 1971, they won it again with Pele being awarded the Golden Ball, which is the best player of the whole tournament. He was awarded the Golden Ball in 1971. And right after that championship, that World Cup, Pele retired from international play and is still considered the greatest football player to ever live. That's quite a title right there. But I think he well enough deserves it. The guy was truly fantastic, from what I understand. I mean, look at this. This guy. Wow. It looks like he's about to kick the ball in the air, and he's already left this other guy there on the ground. Pele, he's still described today, and he scored so many goals in so little games compared to the guy who broke his record. I think it's Raymar. Raymar broke his record of how many goals he had in um, World Cup appearances, but he did it in almost twice the amount of games. That's amazing. Neymar, the guy's name is Neymar. Shows you I know soccer, right? Great. So happy birthday, posthumous birthday to Pelé because he died earlier um, last year. I think it was 2022 that he passed away. Happy posthumous birthday. 2022. He passed away. And we have a lot to be thankful for. This guy revolutionized it. He made soccer an international sport. I mean, it already was an international sport, but he dominated, and, and even his closest competitors loved him for what they called making soccer a beautiful game. And they have some really tough matches with Argentina, who I think is a dirty team. It always has been a dirty team. But Brazil made it look like a beautiful sport. Pele, most notably, was one of those guys. Was the guy who changed soccer into a beautiful game. Happy posthumous birthday, Edison Arantes do Nascimento, Mr. Pele. And last but not least, and definitely not last but not least, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to one Pedro Martinez. Now, Martinez's birthday is October 24th. October 25th, 1971. Happy birthday to Pedro Martinez, born October 25th, 1971, in the Dominican Republic. And I would say the name of the town, but I really can't pronounce it, and I don't want to screw it up. You people know who you are, the people that were born in the same town as Pedro. And you would just, if you came on after I said this name, you would just, from side to side, just whip me. But Pedro was an 8-time All-Star. Pedro Martinez struck out the side in the All-Star game too in I think it was 1999. Pedro Martinez was at his peak from 1997 to 2003, and he established himself as one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball history. And yes, he was. I mean, it was fantastic to watch. It was must-watch TV when Pedro was at his prime. I've never seen a better pitcher than Pedro Martinez in my life. And I've seen maybe a handful named, and this is not to slight anybody. I'm telling you right now, this is not to slight anybody. I've seen, that guy, Bob Gibson, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, uh, Kurt Schilling. Gosh, you name them in the last 30 or 40 years, I saw them. And the most dominant pitcher I've ever seen in my life was one Pedro Martinez. His ball could go up to 97, 98 miles an hour fastball. He could drop you a curve at 80, in the 80s. Slider, uh, sinker. It was truly, it was truly something to watch, and it would bring tears to your eyes and to chill up and down your spine. Pedro won the he won three Cy Young Awards: 1997, 1999, and 2000. And he was runner-up. He was runner-up twice: 1998 and 2002. He posts a cumulative record of 118 and 36, 70 with the which was a 766 average with a 2.2 ERA, while leading his league in ERA 5 times and winning percentage and strikeouts 3 times. In 1999, Pedro was the runner-up for the American League Most Valuable Player Award. He won the Triple Crown with a 23-4 record and had a 2.07 ERA that year with 313 strikeouts. He won the Cy Young Award in both the American and National League. He recorded the second lowest single season in the live ball era in 1999, the second lowest single season whip total in Major League history in 2000, and the lowest single season adjusted ERA plus in Major League history in 2000. Now, Pedro's performance suffered a steep decline in 2024, but he ended the season memorably by helping the Red Sox end a long 86-year drought to win the World Series in 1986. And for that, Pedro Martinez will always be remembered in Boston and in the New England era for pumping us up, keeping us going when the team hadn't won the championship in 80 some odd years. What they learned, he had one of his great seasons in 1983, but he wore out his arm trying to pitch the Red Sox in to the World Series. They lost to the Yankees, the dreaded but respected Yankees, in 1983. And no, yeah, 2003. 1983. Sorry about that, guys. In 2003, they lost to the Yankees, and then they would win again. They would win in 2004. But what they learned by losing to the Yankees in 2003 would propel them. And remember now, 2004 is when they come back from 3-0. I have to throw this in the Yankees' face because you guys have 27 titles, and you deserved every last one of them. You put out great teams year after year, and you're in the World Series again this year. But that year, 2004, the Red Sox came back from 3 down and took it to the bank, defeating the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series to win the first Major League World Series in 86 years. And Pedro, thanks to you, that all happened. Fantastic. Fantastic, everybody. Pedro Martinez was fantastic. Now, football. Football, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Football. Buffalo, Arizona, Chicago, Tampa Bay, New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Jets, Cincinnati Bengals, Seattle Seahawks, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, they're the Los Angeles Chargers now. And Vikings. We even have the Texans in there. Green Bay. And let's not forget the only undefeated team still in the NFL. That's right, the Kansas City Chiefs. How did I do last week on my picks? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there was 14 games, 15 games, and I went 12-3. 12-3 over 15 games. 12-3. Yeah, I probably would have did better than that if New Orleans had showed up. If I had known that Joe Flacco was playing instead of Anthony Richardson, definitely, I might have went. I definitely would have went 14-1. Okay, I only had one bad pick, and that was I took Atlanta over Seattle, and I don't even know why I did that because By Saturday, I changed my mind and I was now taking Seattle. So my picks I did on Saturday, I took Seattle and I cleaned the clock on that one because I was right. We go through it again. Denver played New Orleans. I took New Orleans, being at home. Big mistake. That didn't work out. New England played at Jacksonville. I took Jacksonville. Now, they didn't really play Jacksonville. They played in London. But I took Jacksonville in London and they won. There were plenty of people that took New England. I don't know why. Seattle went to Atlanta. Now, I took Atlanta on Wednesday, but I would change. But I can't really go back on that. I took Atlanta, and that was a mistake. Tennessee went to Buffalo. That was an easy call. Buffalo. Cincinnati goes to Cleveland. That was an easy call. Cincinnati. Houston going to Green Bay. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. I took Green Bay. Miami went to Indianapolis. Yeah, I got that right, as usual. Detroit went to Minnesota. I took Detroit. Philadelphia went to New York. You can't be serious. Philadelphia, easily. Las Vegas went to the Los Angeles Rams and got spanked. I took LA. Carolina to Washington. Easy call. Washington, and they won it. Kansas City and San Francisco. I took Kansas City. I'm not. This is like Brady 2.0. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but with Pat Mahomes and a more likable Andy Reid. You better not go against the Kansas City Chiefs. Got that? Got that, ladies and gentlemen? New York. The New York Jets were traveling to Pittsburgh, one of the more rabid arenas, country surroundings that you can ever play in. The Terrible Towel, Franco Harris, and all the rest of the ghosts, the spirits of the Steelers past. Yeah, I took the Steelers. Of course, they almost blew it. They played Russell Wilson. That was almost well, let's just go with, okay, anyway. And then Baltimore was traveling to Tampa Bay. I believe I took Tampa Bay in that one. Or did I take? Well, I took Baltimore on Saturday. That much I do know. Okay, so I'm not even sure that I had three wrong. And then Los Angeles went to Arizona, and Arizona actually beat Los Angeles, so I had that one wrong. So maybe I was more. I'll have to recheck the books. Maybe I was 13-2, and not 12-3. No, I took Baltimore, but I was 12-3. The three losses are as follows: New Orleans losing to Denver, Atlanta, where I took Seattle, and that last one, Arizona shocking everybody with a last-minute field goal to win it, and that was that. But ladies and gentlemen, 12-3 is still 12-3. Let's see you beat that. Now, if you tune in on Saturdays, you probably even get a better one. And if you look, there goes the number to call in on Saturdays. Amazing Grace Sports Network, 844-249-5247. That's 844-249-5247. Remember to like and subscribe if you're here so far. And you're probably going to be here to hear the picks for this week. Now, I'm picking them live. I have not picked them yet. I'm picking them right in front of you. Wow, let's hope this goes well. Minnesota is traveling to the Los Angeles Rams. This is tomorrow night. You know, okay. It's going to be a tough one. But Minnesota's favored. Minnesota's favored in this one. They just lost. Minnesota did to Detroit. Detroit. Minnesota lost to Detroit. So they're coming off a loss. Let's see how Sam Darnold responds. I am going to go with. I am going to go with Los Angeles. Come on, Rams. Let's see what you got. Philadelphia is traveling to Cincinnati. We're going with Philadelphia. Baltimore is going to Cleveland. Really? Really? Let's see what the line is on this one. The line is Baltimore by 9. I'm taking Baltimore also. Tennessee is traveling to Detroit. Really? Let's just say Detroit, it's going to be hard for you to lose. Very hard for you to lose. And it's not going to happen. I'm going with Detroit. Arizona's traveling to Miami. Now they're talking about reinstating two attacks from concussion, from his concussion that he suffered. Really? Really? What is wrong? What is wrong with Tua? What is wrong with Tua? What is wrong with his whole family that they would even allow to consider this? I mean, obviously he's standing around saying he's ready to play. His family should just give him a concussion and hit him in the head right now and say, no, you're not going to play any more football. His dad, his mom, his sister, his brother, whoever should punch him right in the jaw and give him another concussion right now and say, no, you're not going to play. The team should not let him play. I don't care how much he says he's ready to go. He shouldn't. You know what? I'm going with Arizona. Just because. Okay, let's just move on. New York. That's the New York Jets, I believe. Yes, New York Jets are going to New England. I'm taking the New York Jets. Yes, Atlanta's traveling to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay doesn't have any receivers. None. Godwin's out. Evans is out. Todd Bowles, you know these guys are old. I have no faith in Todd Bowles whatsoever. You've had a great team, but I knew you were going to screw it up somehow. You should have had players ready to come in for your wide receivers. These guys are old. Old. They're both over 30, right? Godwin and Evans. How long did you think this was going to last? That being said, I'm taking Atlanta. Green Bay is going to Jacksonville. Green Bay. Indianapolis. I'll just hold this paper right here so you guys can see it. Indianapolis is traveling to Houston. They're going to put Anthony Richardson back in there, and that is checkmark Houston. New Orleans is traveling to the Chargers. I'm giving it to the Chargers. Buffalo is traveling to Seattle. Seattle, because Buffalo does not travel well. Carolina is going into Denver. Whoa, I'm taking Denver. Kansas City is going to Las Vegas. Kansas City's favored by 10. I think that should tell you what's going on here. Kansas City. Kansas City, as they announce it. Chicago is traveling to Washington. Jalen Daniels is gone. Chicago is on the high. I'm taking Chicago. Dallas is traveling to San Francisco. I am taking, San Francisco doesn't have any receivers either. Backup running back. This is a game that Dallas should win. San Francisco's favored by 4.5. But Dallas is not playing at home. They play terrible at home. And they had a bye. I'm taking Dallas. Just because San Francisco's beat up. And this is the type of game that Dallas will win when everyone counts them out. Definitely. And New York Giants are traveling to Pittsburgh. I mean, even with Mike Tomlin looking to screw things up by putting Russell Wilson in there. Oh my gosh. I'm getting buyer's remorse here. Yeah, I'm getting buyer's remorse. I mean, Russell Wilson, I'm taking the Giants. Let's go back on that. New York Giants, who have looked so bad, and everyone thinks it's going to crap the bed. They got Pittsburgh by 6.5. But then again, it's Russell Wilson. We'll see what happens. I'm taking New York. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are my picks for next week. Let's hope I go 16-0. It's even better than the week before at 12-3. 16-0 with a couple of upsets. That being New York going into Pittsburgh and Dallas at San Francisco. I had my reasons. Russell Wilson at the helm. One good game just to tease you. And then he'll go back to being the Russell Wilson of the last 5 or 6 years. New York Giants will get a couple of picks, run them back. Special teams might catch fire, run another couple back, and Daniel Jones and the rest of the New York offense might even score a touchdown or two, taking the Giants. And Dallas, now that they're being counted out as, horse feed, cow manure in San Francisco. San Francisco's got a line of 4.5. I'm taking that. Now, I always like to go through this. This is one of my favorite parts. Tickets show you how bad a team is doing by how low the ticket price is. The lower the ticket price, the lower that the home field team, the worse that the home field team is doing. It really means, okay, yeah, they're that bad. Now, we have ticket prices as low as $18 in in the Baltimore Cleveland game. Cleveland, which has some of the most rabid fans since the 1940s. You can now get tickets there for $18. And I don't know of anybody that is messed up as much as Cleveland, but let me rank them in order here. You got Cleveland first, because they had Joe Flacco last year, who led them to the playoffs. But they gave him the boot for Deshaun Watson, Mr. Massage Therapist, Mr. I can't get enough massages, Deshaun Watson, who has shown for the past 3 years he's done. He's done. But that didn't matter to Cleveland. They didn't want to look like fools. Wait a minute. Do you look like a fool after you spent the money and you still stick with the guy? Do you look like more of a fool than you could have looked like if you just had booted him last year and kept Joe Flacco, the guy who got you to the playoffs? The proven veteran, the guy who is stable, the guy who knows what he's doing? No, I think you look more foolish now, Cleveland. The next up in the foolish sweepstakes is Miami. Yes, Miami. This guy McDaniels is a wash. Okay? They lose 2 attacks. And I think they've only won one game. The game that they beat the Patriots, who are going to be number 3, and coming up fast in Miami's rearview mirror for number 2. But you back the guy in Tyreek Hill, who got pulled over for a traffic ticket and showed how stupid one can behave while on camera. He must have forgot that the police officers have cameras. So everything that he was saying and doing was on camera. He came back to the facility, got there just in time, and said it was racism. When he was driving 100 miles an hour, the guy pulled him over, and he just went totally big time on him, and then claimed he got pulled over. And McDaniels backed him. That should have been the beginning of the end. What should have been the beginning of the end was resigning 2 tags after he had 3 documented concussions. Actually, a 4th that you called a back injury. The resigning of Tua Tagovailoa. It's a crap franchise. When do you admit that you made a mistake? You should have got somebody else in there. Coming up number 3 on the list is the New England Patriots. Yes, the New England Patriots, who were on top for 20 years. Those guys, when they drafted 2 quarterbacks in the first in the draft, neither one of them can block. Neither one of them can catch. Neither one of them can run. How about you just draft 1 quarterback and you draft around him so that you protect him? Now you have this guy out there, and he's already had 1 MRI on his knee. I don't know if it's been another, but he's guaranteed to get hurt. Practically guaranteed to get hurt before the season's out. And you blew it. You blew it. Elliott Wolf, Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, you blew it. Your first time from under Bill Belichick, and you couldn't even follow the recipe for success. Yes, you need to hear this so that you don't do it again. Everybody is soft pedaling it like it's Jell-O pudding, like you didn't step in it. You stepped in it. One of the worst mistakes you could have made, you did. Jacoby Brissett's going to be back in there in the not too far future. So those 3 franchises are right now really mucking it up. Jacksonville, Houston, It's making the same mistake. Washington's making the same mistake that Jacksonville did by starting Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville started Trevor Lawrence from day one. Caleb Williams, they started him from day one. Guess what? Caleb Williams is out injured. No one saw this happening, right? How about me? How about me telling you guys, don't put your future out there right from the beginning. The game is fast. He might have outran those guys in college. And maybe even if he didn't outrun them when he was caught, they didn't hit him as hard as they hit in the NFL. Now the kid's out. And who knows when he's going to be back. Caleb Williams. You can't tell Chicago people much. The Bears, they started him. He'll have some good times, but he might get injured because he's getting sacked a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I digress. I don't even know where I started on this. I really don't. And from that, I'm just going to end it just like that, because that's one of the things you can do when you're running the podcast yourself. You might not know where you started, but you know where you can end it. And I can end it on a high note by saying, God bless all of you guys. Enjoy football. Enjoy the games. Protect yourselves. Root for your team, but don't be crazy. Don't want your number one, first round, top 10 quarterback in there just because you don't want your team. You don't want to be talked down on by another franchise. Look, your team's terrible. Take that number one quarterback. Save him for next year. Be terrible for a year so that you can be great 5 to 10 years. That's my advice. With that, I'm out of here. You guys have a great day, a fantastic week, and I will see you on Saturday. Remember to like and subscribe, leave comments about me being right or wrong. I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.